Hello, welcome to this beginner-friendly guide of the Ruy Lopez, which is an opening that begins after e4, e5, knight f3, attacking the pawn. Knight c6 is the best way to defend it, and now bishop to b5. This marks the start of the Ruy Lopez, and here there are two moves which you need to know what to do against. The first is knight to f6, attacking the pawn, and the other is a6. Let's start with knight to f6. This is called the Berlin defense. And we're just going to let them take our pawn. The point is, if they take our pawn, we're going to play rook e1 now, putting a lot of pressure on the e-file and against the king. And here, according to the Lichess database at the under 2000 level, many people play knight f6. And here we can just win back our pawn with knight takes pawn. And amazingly, 80% of players blunder from here with knight takes knight. But only 7% of people punish the blunder. You see, most people take with the rook, but in fact it's much better to play d4. This is the only move that wins in this position. It's much better to be able to take with the pawn, and you'll see why in a second. Most people here play c6, saying a piece for a piece. However, after pawn takes knight and pawn takes bishop, now we see the point of taking with the pawn is we can take again with check. Here the only logical move is bishop e7, but we're just going to take that as well with check. After king f8, there's a really nice move to remember here, really nice line, queen d6, threatening rook takes d7 check. That discovery will win the queen. So the only move that avoids losing the queen is king g8. But now there's a beautiful trap, which you can play bishop h6, a fantastic move, preparing to take the pawn and then the rook. And of course, you're probably wondering, what about pawn takes bishop? Well, now we have queen g3 check, forcing king f8, and then queen g7 mate. Okay, so back to this position. The other move that gets played a lot is a6. This is the main line, and we're just going to drop it back to a4, and then later we're going to put it on b3. After knight f6, same idea. We're going to castle and let them take our pawn. Most people don't, but if they do, again, we've got rook e1, and lots of the same traps come up. For example, if this move knight f6, we have knight takes pawn, knight takes knight, and again, d4. Crucial that you take with the pawn so that you can take the knight as well. Okay, so going back, b5 is what most people play here, and we're just going to put our bishop on b3, where it's aiming at the king side, but it's nice and safe. After bishop e7, it is worth defending our e-pawn now with rook e1. And after castles, I strongly recommend you play what's called an anti-marshal with h3. This is a nice prophylactic move which stops a lot of black's attacks from here, specifically bishop g4, which can be an annoying pin. Some final opening points. If at any point black plays d6, generally the idea that white should play is an immediate d4. Please remember this. And if they play bishop c5 at any point, generally the idea is to play c3 followed by d4. Now for middle game ideas. Let's go back to this position. There are three main middle game ideas which you can employ in any Ruy Lopez. The first is c3 followed by d4. This not only gives a nice safe haven for the bishop on c2 if it ever gets attacked, but also prepares to fight for the center with d4. The second middle game idea is to play a4. This threatens to win the b-pawn, because after pawn takes pawn, you'll notice that this a-pawn is pinned to the rook, so it cannot capture back. And the final middle game idea is to transfer this knight on b1 all the way to g3. And the way that we're going to do that is via d2. We're going to take it from d2 to f1 to g3. It's very important that you transfer your pieces to the king side if you would like an attack on the enemy king to be successful. So I hope this video helped, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.